Sylvie of the multiple award-winning The Queen Sylvie Show. You want to expand and get noticed? Then come outside your box and into our world. Internet advertising has a real impact on global awareness and even sales, so let's make an impact together. Offering for a limited time advertising and sponsorship packages that excel your purpose. So contact Queen Sylvie or Smooth Tim for the exciting opportunities that awaits. Yeah.
Are you tired of driving around a dirty car? Say hello to the ultimate solution for your car. Quick Auto Detail, home, work, or wherever. Their mobile car spa will clean and shine your car anytime and anywhere. Their products are gentle on your car's paint, and they use only the highest quality materials. Book your appointment now.
Hey kids, how would you like to hear this on the screen instead of the great show you came to see? That's what you sound like. Honest. Please cooperate and do your part in keeping this theater quiet so everyone, including you, can enjoy it. Remember, lots of adults and kids, too, paid admission to enjoy the show. We must insist on absolute quiet. Oh,
Amazingly, this drunk driver turns left into oncoming traffic. He narrowly misses hitting a pedestrian, who jumps out of the way just in time. Now the driver can add attempted battery to the charges. The driver turns right into the parking lot of a drive-in movie theater. At this point, the dinosaur in the back seat pokes his head up through the roof, and the driver places two small children on top of it. Now he's not only endangering his own life, but their lives as well. The driver totals the car and makes a run for it, but the pursuing officers are prepared. Running from the cops? Yabba dabba don't.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's rock.
Identity theft, cyber fraud, financial scams. Who has access to your personal information should be your decision, not up to Elon Musk. That's your data, your social security account, your tax return, your student loans, your VA health records.
But Elon has cracked the code. He is now inside the agencies. He's created these algorithms that are constantly crawling through the data. And
How creepy is that?
constantly crawling through the data.
The Wall Street Journal reports that Elon Musk has a long history of drug abuse.
Do people get upset at you if you do certain things?
LSD, cocaine, ecstasy, mushrooms, and ketamine. Is this somebody you trust? This guy? Elon Musk is dangerous to you, your family, your country, your data, your life. Just say no to Elon Musk.
Okay, just say no to Elon. Hey, what is happening? Excuse me, welcome to Tim's Tidbits on another hump day, on another Wednesday. And we're in the middle of April, everybody. Can you believe it? Hey, we're into springtime, like I said, in the middle of April, almost Easter. Don't forget to hook up yourself and your kids with some candy treats. Easter Bunny's going to be hopping down the avenue pretty soon, so make sure you take care of everybody that's important in your life. And I'd like to give some quick shout-outs real quick to last week's listeners before I start off here, and those are those of you in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Mexico, Germany, Poland, Africa, Ireland, France, Australia, Thank you for tuning in to last week's show. I know you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed telling you about some of this chaotic stuff going on around the world and in the U.S. of A. In any event, there's still things going on, North Korea, South Korea, China, and, trade wars there. And still, I don't know if they've made any real progress, when it comes to Russia, Ukraine. But in any regard, there's still a whole lot going on. And thoughts and prayers are going out to everybody that's suffering from all this BS around the world. In any event, how about I jump right into the show tonight? And I said right at the very beginning, let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Washington, and they are imposing all kinds of tariffs on everything coming into the U.S. of A. and rolling back some tariffs, imposing some tariffs. We're going to talk a little bit about this, but in any regards, he imposed, 125, like 140% tariff tax on things coming from China, which includes, obviously, your electronics, your cell phones, your computers, your PlayStations, your Xboxes, all this happy horse shit that we rely on for entertainment is coming out of China, and we're going to be paying 145% more because those tariffs are going to get passed along to you and me, buddy. You better believe that. But in any regards, in that same light, China has responded a little bit to the tariffs that Trump decided to put on them. Hey, take a listen and a watch to this thing right here.
Just a day after he stunned markets by freezing most of his newly imposed global tariffs for 90 days, except those targeting China. In fact, in a tit-for-tat move between the world's two biggest economies, President Trump raised tariffs on Chinese goods multiple times, beginning from 20% in March to reaching 145% on April 9th. Now, China has again retaliated with 125% tariffs on American imports. Meanwhile, as talks stall and tensions rise, the battle between the U.S. and China has gone beyond trade into the world of AI-generated satire. Chinese social media has erupted with biting, tech-savvy jabs aimed at President Trump and his top aides. In fact, one viral video features AI versions of President Trump, his buddy Elon Musk, and Vice President J.D. Vance clumsily assembling sneakers on a dingy production line. But the mocking doesn't stop there. A meme shared by a spokesperson of China's foreign ministry showed a red MAGA hat labeled "Made in China" with its price marked up to $77. However, things got even uglier after Vice President J.D. Vance's controversial comment that China's economy was built by peasants. The remark seemed to open the floodgates for more AI-fueled ridicule. In one particular video shared by a now-deleted Instagram account, but shared by several others, portrays overweight American workers sweating in bleak factories, stitching together Nike shoes, Tesla components, and iPhones as they guzzle soda. Government officials in China remain steadfast while their public-facing rhetoric suggests openness to dialogue. Their actions, however, and memes hint at a nation gearing up for a long, bitter fight. As Trump maintains his hard stance, believing China just doesn't know how to make a deal, the world watches, because behind the AI parodies, the next 90 days could decide more than just a deal. They may even define a new era of economic warfare.
Ooh, isn't that the truth? What have you getting us into with these trade wars? I mean, and it's ridiculous. I looked at that little tote board that he had the other day, showing that he's going to put a tariff on all these various countries and a reciprocal tariff board. Isn't that what he called that thing? And in any regards, and then he backed off on some tariffs. It was interestingly related to these tariffs. Was he had a meeting with some of his buddies in the Oval Office, one of them being Charles Schwab, Schwab Investments. And you've seen the advertisements. But in any regards, Schwab was there, Charles. And he was talking to Trump, and Trump was in their correspondence back and forth was bragging rather how the other day last week, when the stock markets were taking a huge tank most of us Americans were losing our butt. We was losing 30% of the value of our 401ks, our 501ks. 401ks. And there's somebody making $2.5 billion in one day off of tariffs being withheld, threatened, rolled back, and Schwab apparently, with the buddy that he has in Trump, was able to pull off a scam where he made $2.5 billion the other day on the stock markets tanking out and semi-recovering because of I'm going to tariff you. Oh, maybe I'll roll back tariffs.
Picture this. Charles Schwab, rocking a red tie and a Trump-branded golf cap, struts into the White House like it's a brokerage happy hour. "Don, my man," he chuckles, "drop those tariffs and I'll owe you one." Trump, mid-tweet, nods sagely. Meanwhile, granddaughter Samantha, buried in Treasury memos, accidentally group texts, "Grandpa, tariff flips a go, buy low, sell never." The next day, tariffs vanish. The market does a moonwalk. And Chuck's shares spike so hard he makes $2.5 billion before breakfast. Insider trading? Nah, just a family barbecue with extra stock tips. Pure comedy gold.
This is Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad. He's in financials. I've always been fine.
Yeah, he made $2.5 billion, and he made how many millions off of me letting them know that I was going to lift these sanctions, and maybe I will, maybe I won't put a tariff on these people. How can that not be crooked as hell? But keep an eyeball on your president giving some more inside information to people, especially when it comes, I don't know, buying off parts of the Panama Canal, getting your hands into some of Greenland and their resources, or Ukraine and their resources, whatever kind of evil deal he may be working out there to get ahead, to recover the money. Yeah, okay. In any regards, he's attacking on all fronts. And one of the fronts he is attacking on, and when he had, speaking of attacking, when he decided to put Linda McMahon in charge of the Department of Education, a wrestling promoter in charge of our Department of Education, and they're just deciding to send a lot of it back to the states. But first, they'd like to sit there and say, well, this is how you have to run your particular university. Let's go to a university, because we're talking about Harvard in this instance. And if you don't get rid of this woke culture that you have there, we're not going to give you any money. And you're going to have to abide by our rules, or we're not going to give you any money. This is what you got to teach and how you got to teach it, or we're not going to give you any money. Well, Harvard said, Harvard versus Trump. Let's see how that plays out.
Harvard University, after the school basically set up a showdown with the Trump administration, rejecting some of the White House's demands on its policies. A White House spokesperson saying, in part, President Trump wants to end unchecked anti-Semitism, and that Harvard's response could put its federal funding at risk. But Harvard's president says the university will not surrender its independence, and that neither Harvard nor any other private university can allow itself to be taken over by the federal government. The Trump administration had something like 10 demands for Harvard, including the elimination of DEI programs and the restriction of acceptance of international students who are, and I'm quoting here, hostile to American values and institutions.
Stephanie, interestingly, Harvard taking a stand in a very public way, and not just about itself, also saying that universities and schools around the country should follow their lead. They are calling this a violation of their First Amendment rights. Hallie.
Yep, telling you what you can teach and what you can't teach, and what can be demonstrated on campus and what can't be. I mean, that rolls almost back to, I'll divulge my age a bit into the 1960s. I remember growing up and watching when you would have certain organizations coming in to the university in town and protesting, whether it be, the Black Panthers, whether it be a neo-Nazi organization, whether it be SDS, Students for a Democratic Society. They had some different ideals back then, and the police intervention that would happen, and they were all geared up, ready to pepper spray, it was insane. And, hey, Ohio's famous for Kent State, hey, 4 dead in Ohio, because why would you ever want to protest in the Vietnam War? What's wrong with you? Excuse me, I kind of got off topic, but anyhow, Trump is not just limiting this to as a trade war, just not limiting it, to versus the universities, the Department of Education in the various states, and do what I do, or we're going to pull your money. He also has it out for the media. So it's either write me up good, listen to what I say, ask me good questions. You ask me bad questions, you piss me off, I'm going to ban you from, could be Air Force One, could be White House briefings, could be anything. But now it's still Trump versus the media. Check it out.
Go ahead. Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CNN. Low-rated.
Our reporters, Jeff Zeleny, I want to start with you. You are at the White House. Before I get to you, I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years. And I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
So, yep. And the media. Yeah, he's going to sue them because he didn't like what CNN wrote. And now, it's insane, people. It really is. And then you control the press. So far, he is putting on tariffs onto countries. Is he overstepping his authority there? Who knows? There's a lot of people trying to file lawsuits to eliminate some of these tariffs. So we'll see. Is he overstepping his bounds? Okay. As far as what he's doing with the universities and eliminating any type of a woke culture, so to speak, or DEI, right? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Any program that may relate to that, you're not going to get any funding. So, we could erase a lot of history. Don't teach me about the various travesties that occurs to history, whether it be, what happened to the Jewish people with the Holocaust, or whether it happens with the black people in America. Let's erase that because it never happened, right? Seems that's a culture that we're trying to move into. We should be learning from our mistakes, not trying to erase them. But in any regard, also, speaking of stepping outside the parameters of your authority, and who knows where this one is going to go to, Trump has been ordered by the courts to return this guy from El Salvador and I'm sure you've seen this on TV, that was rounded up and supposedly a member of a hostile gang and a real bad guy, but apparently that's not really the case. And it just seems like Trump and his cabinet is just not too enthused about following court orders to, expedite getting this guy back into the country. In fact, Trump made a suggestion that maybe bad people here in the United States should be sent to El Salvador along with this guy that they accidentally sent there. So
This morning, the legal standoff over the future of a Maryland immigrant mistakenly deported to a notorious prison in El Salvador is escalating. El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, at the White House yesterday, refused to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States.
How can I return him to the United States? Like I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it.
The Trump administration insists Abrego Garcia is a member of the violent MS-13 gang who entered the U.S. illegally. But the Supreme Court last week ruled his removal from the U.S. was illegal and ordered the administration to facilitate his return. The issue now? The administration argues the court cannot force the president to negotiate with a foreign government.
That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us.
Abrego Garcia's lawyer insists the U.S. government does have the ability to bring his client home.
What we're asking is exactly what the Supreme Court told them. Let's facilitate his return. And we do this all the time. We're asking them to follow the law.
While Abrego Garcia's case remains in limbo, the Trump administration is sending more migrants to that prison. And now Trump is suggesting American-born criminals could follow, which would test U.S. law.
We also have homegrown criminals that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people.
Yeah, maybe
who get
you,
them out of the
Donnie.
country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that.
Before reporters and cameras were allowed into the Oval Office, remember the Salvadoran
Homegrown
delegation was
criminals.
live streaming, and Trump can be heard on that live
Homegrown
stream saying,
criminals.
quote, homegrowns are next. The homegrown, suggesting Bukele needs to build about 5 more prisons.
Under President Bukele, El Salvador declared an emergency in 2022, allowing for mass arrests with no due process. Since then, nearly 85,000 people have been imprisoned. Hundreds have reportedly died in custody.
Okie dokie. Yeah, let's send our homegrown criminals there, too. We'll say, what the hell? This guy, I mean, you know, okay, so he defies the orders of the courts. No, I'm not bringing this guy back. And if you would listen to the conversation with the, I don't know if he is a prime minister, president, how they look at him, of El Salvador the other day in the White House. He's like, yeah, he made that remark. Why should I bring a criminal back? You're accusing us of sending criminals, and now you want me to send a supposed criminal back. Yeah, well, yeah, interesting. Interesting. And speaking of interesting, I don't know what the intent on Greenland is anymore. That kind of went off to the quiet side. But you know that was Vice President J.D. Vance that made that visit along with his wife, and they were so not welcomed. In fact, they kind of got the cold shoulder in Greenland. Could have been the weather, or could have just been they don't want the USA there. There's really no need for us to be there and provide them economic and safety, security around their island because, it's being encroached upon by Russians and China and some of these other countries. But in any regards, I kind of got off base. Speaking of getting off base, it was what they told the base commander, who apparently was not warm enough or receptive enough to JD's visit. Check it out.
The head of the U.S. military base in Greenland, Colonel Susanna Myers, was fired after distancing herself from the Trump administration. The U.S. military's Space Operations Command cited a, quote, loss in confidence in her ability to lead. The news comes after Myers separated herself from Vice President J.D. Vance's March visit to Greenland in an email to base personnel.
Our message to Denmark is very simple. You have not done a good job by the people of Greenland. You have underinvested in the people of Greenland, and you have underinvested in the security architecture of this incredible, beautiful landmass filled with incredible people.
Vance also accused Denmark of, quote, underinvesting in its semi-autonomous territory and leaving it vulnerable to foreign actors. Myers wrote in the email, quote, I do not presume to understand the current politics, but what I do know is the concerns of the U.S. administration discussed by Vice President Vance on Friday are not reflective of Pitifix Space Base. The email dampened the Trump administration's goal of deepening ties or even acquiring Greenland. Defense Department spokesman Sean Parnell said in a statement, quote, actions to undermine the chain of command or to subvert President Trump's agenda will not be tolerated at the Department of Defense. Space Force Colonel Sean Lee has replaced Myers.
there you go. If you're not on board 100%, you're out. They'll doge your ass or whatever they call this stuff. Just find a reason to get rid of you. And apparently that base commander just was not warm enough to JD when him and his wifey came for the visit to see a quick survey of Greenland and where they might want their beachfront property and shit. In any regards, and apparently all this is generating lawsuit. And you know that Trump has went through the USA attorney's offices and cleaned the house on anybody that was involved in any way with his prosecutions or January 6th rioters of prosecutions, and he's made sure most of them have gone away. But in any regards, now he's targeting some of not just these U.S. attorneys, he's actually targeting your local attorneys. Check this out.
He says federal agents were trying to intimidate him. Fox 2's Amy Lang with the story.
This wasn't a random selection. This was designed to target me. And it was, in my belief, designed to intimidate me.
Attorney Amir Mackled was at Metro Airport returning from a family vacation to Punta Cana with his wife and twin daughters when he says he was stopped by federal agents.
The passport agent, after taking my ID and my passport, was asking another agent for a TTRT team member, Tactical Terrorism Response Team. So I look over to my wife, I said, this is no good. They're going to do something here. We're probably going to be detained. They're probably going to ask me some questions.
Mackled says they did let his wife and terrified children leave, but he was detained and questioned for an hour and a half.
The very first thing he tells me is, we know you're an attorney and we know you are handling some high-profile cases. He said, well, do you have your phone with you? I said, yeah, I have my phone with me. And he goes, can I see it? I said, for what?
Mackled is a civil rights and criminal defense attorney in Dearborn and represents a University of Michigan student activist accused of resisting and obstructing police at the encampment protesting the war in Gaza last year. Plus numerous other cases, all privileged information in his phone. He refused to give it up.
I said, brother, you know, this is privileged. You're not getting into access for my content on my phones. I'm not giving it to you. I'm not giving them access to my phone. I'm an attorney. I have to safeguard the interests of my clients. I'm not doing that.
He says they went back and forth for some time, telling him they have the right to confiscate his phone.
He says to me, look, you know, the number one thing is we want to see your contact list. If you show us your contact list, we'll give you the phone back. Otherwise, we're taking it. And so I acquiesced to that request.
Then he says they proceeded to ask him about contacts in his phone. He refused to give them any more information.
The new approach of coming after the attorneys is really a chilling effect and is done to dissuade people from taking up these cases.
Mackled referring to President Trump's well-publicized attacks on large law firms involved with people or cases investigating him. Now it seems local attorneys are also under scrutiny.
Our civil rights are being tested, and this administration is really challenging and testing, how far they can push. And unfortunately, for the times we're in, we're going to have to keep pushing. We're going to have to keep fighting.
Customs and Border Patrol called the lawyer's accusations blatantly false and sensationalized, saying it was a routine, lawful process.
Well, sucks to be you if you're a local attorney representing somebody that got screwed over by the government, for one reason or the other, because they're going to be coming after you, too. It's amazing how they... Luckily, this man was intelligent enough to know his rights, that, he didn't have to turn over the information in his phone, then these people were totally violating his rights. But hey, they're going to push it as far as they can push it, and we've showed that before in these agents trying to seize money and drugs at the airport because they may think you look suspicious for one reason and or the other. Just don't look out of place or don't represent anybody that we think looks out of place, and you're going to be on our okay to go list. But hey, it's not all terrible, people. It's not all terrible. I was looking up, and Trump has signed 124 executive orders since he came into office, and they include a variety gambit of things that he's signed executive orders for. But in any regard, he did sign one that, let's call this, Make America's Showers Great Again.
I agree, and President Trump does too. He's making showers great again, signing an executive order this week. He's rolling back the Obama-Biden era restrictions on water pressure in shower heads, and the president is pumped for the change.
In my case, I like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair. I have to stand under the shower for 15 minutes till it gets wet. It comes out drip, drip, drip. It's ridiculous. And what you do is you end up washing your hands 5 times longer. It's the same water. And we're going to open it up so that people can live.
Yeah, but we want to know what you think about this regulatory tug of war over shower heads. So we hit the streets to find out in this week's Talk of the Town.
The president rolled back limits on water pressure in shower heads. Good idea?
Where we live in South Carolina, yeah.
If you're paying a water bill, you should decide the pressure. You get what I'm saying? So we can't decide the prices. Let us decide something, right?
Should we be limiting the amount of water pressure in the shower?
No.
I'm under a lot of pressure during the day. I need that extra pressure from my shower head.
I appreciate a good water pressure. It's refreshing, it's relaxing. You know, I think people should be entitled to a nice relaxing shower.
I don't really get water pressure as long as it's hot.
I'm all for a good shower. People should have the freedom to, have their shower be however much pressure it should be.
So we have an executive order now that no more limitation to your shower head dispense. So that if you have a little restrictor, they did make the companies, and it helped save water. So if you'd like to save water, leave the restrictor in. If you would like to have a better flow of water coming out of your shower head, you take the shower head off and you'll see there's a little restrictor just on the inside of your shower head as you screw it onto the shower valve. But in any regards, let's move on from that. And geez, thanks so much for signing executive order number 124 on April 1st, as a matter of fact, April 1st, taking out the restrictions off of our waterhead pressure. Let's go to a feel-good moment, and I don't know if it's necessarily a feel-good moment. It could be a feel-good moment. Maybe not a feel. What I'm alluding to is a wrongfully convicted felon was exonerated completely from his crime. Trouble is only moments after he was executed.
Justice has been affirmed at the 13th hour as wrongly convicted death row inmate Michael Claremont has been exonerated mere hours after his execution.
This was a hard-fought appeal, and I commend Michael's resilience throughout the lethal injection. Now, the innocence of this executed man will never be in question.
Claremont was released from the federal morgue soon after Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb granted a Hail Mary stay of execution, the order coming just in time for the high dose of potassium chloride to take effect and end his life. The relief was palpable inside the execution chamber, with Claremont's family excited to bring his remains back home where he belongs.
Seeing the look on Michael's lifeless face when we finally found out was beautiful. God truly is great.
And with hundreds of potentially innocent people still on death row, federal prosecutors hope many more could soon enjoy the same fate as the late Michael Claremont. Coming up next, more on the alarming story of the family of 9 found dead in their backyard in Pennsylvania. What they named their children will shock you.
That's a shame. It really is. Anyhow, let's move on to something else that I seen in the news all the time also, is a lot of people turning to Ozempic as a weight loss alternative. And, with every good thing comes some bad. And, I'm here to give you both sides of the story. And I would like to share this little testimony, I guess, from a Ozempic user that maybe make you think a little bit before you decide to try it as a weight loss alternative.
All my life, I struggled with my weight. I tried everything from exercise to fad diets, but nothing changed. So when Ozempic came along, it seemed like a miracle drug. And even though I did lose weight, I just wish I had known the risks going in. Because while Ozempic completely changed my life, it also completely changed the way people slap my belly. When I first got my Ozempic prescription, I honestly didn't think it'd make such a stark difference. I'd spent my whole life stuck in the same routine of losing weight, then putting it back on, only for friends and family to jokingly pull up my shirt and smack my tummy until it was pink. And I thought that could never change. But the transformation in how people smack my tummy has been difficult. Just 6 months ago, my girlfriends were asking to see my big stomach so they could give it a whack and watch it jiggle. These days, though, it doesn't jiggle at all. But after nearly a year of weekly injections, the difference is real, but not at all what I wanted. Slapping my stomach used to sound like a bongo drum. Now it hardly makes a noise. And no one shouts out "Baba Booey" anymore. Sometimes I'll pull my shirt up at work or at a party, and no one even tries to blow a big raspberry on it. I just want to shout at everyone who's seen these changes that I'm still me. My belly still deserves to be slapped, and I can still make it seem like my belly button is talking just like I used to.
All I'm saying is if you're struggling with your weight, you should be wary of Ozempic as a magic cure-all, because what you gain might be much less important than the big, bountiful gift that you lose.
At least that's what happened for me.
Yeah, sometimes you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. Golly. Anyhow, let's move on to something a little bit more serious. And that is a woman who got scammed for thousands and thousands of dollars simply by trusting what she thought was her bank. And we've presented this many, many, many times that, if something sounds a little bit fishy, make some phone calls, do some research to find out exactly what the hell is going on, especially if they're asking you for money, asking you to transfer money, asking you for any information over the phone. But let's move on to what happened to this one woman in regards to her Wells Fargo bank account that she got scammed thousands and thousands out of. Check it out.
Aaliyah McPherson has been scammed out of more than $8,200.
That was my savings. That was actually what I've been working for a while.
This all started from a cell phone call from a 1-800 number associated with Wells Fargo. That's her bank. She says the person on the line said,
basically, Wells Fargo Bank informed me that there's fraudulent activity on your account. They will call you if there's fraudulent activity on your account. So I didn't think that there was anything out of the ordinary. I've had this happen before.
A frightened McPherson, along with her fiance, tried to figure out what to do next, and she believes she had confirmed it was Wells Fargo on the phone. So she did what she was told.
You need to basically take out your money so that you can have it protected while we investigate these claims.
McPherson says in several transactions via Zelle and a Chase Bank digital wallet, she emptied her Wells Fargo bank account.
Once you're done talking to them, they're all laughing in the background. They're actually telling you that you've been scammed and laughing.
Wells Fargo shared these tips. Don't share personal information. Don't trust caller ID. And don't be pressured into a transaction. After this experience, the couple has this advice.
Go to the branch if something fraudulently happens.
Right.
Do not call them back.
Calls. Don't even, and it's
go straight to the branch.
I can't even, when Wells Fargo calls me now, which they have because of all of this that's happened, I don't even want to pick up the phone.
Yeah. And you tell them if it's legit, and they're offering you some type of loan information, or they want to extend the credit card information, or they've got some information fraudulent on your account, Go into your local branch and handle that. Don't handle it over the phone. Don't handle it by email, especially. Don't be giving people access to this personal information. And if it's for real, it should be worth your trip. It should be worth your trip. Because this woman got scammed, what did she say, $6,800? My God, that's a hit. That is a hit. And I can see for a young couple like that, it's going to take them a while to recover. Very, 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 very unfortunate. Hey, let's move on, actually, to one of the ending to the show, getting up to the finale. And this is a little thing I like to call, dude, what the fuck? And let's say that you get arrested by the popo. They throw you in the back of the car. You're in your cuffs, and they have an auto accident. And it obviously is all going to be caught on camera because they have cameras inside their vehicles nowadays. But you got to see what this idiot did to cause it all. So he kind of maybe borderlines, in the asshole of the week, but it's more like a what the fuck moment. Check it out.
145 dispatch. Will you advise county that my subject is got his cuffs in the back? Cut his back. Yeah, I'm close.
Well, now that'll teach him from trying to light this back of the seat on fire. But now, where did he get? He slipped out of those cuffs, and then he had a lighter down in his crotch. Obviously, they didn't do good of a frisk search on this guy, that he had all that shit on him, and obviously the bracelets, handcuffs they put on him was not tight enough, or he would have not been able to slip out of them. So, that's crazy. But that rollover accident, I thought you would just be tripping on that. It's like, wow, insane. Let's move on to another part of the show that is one of my favorite, and that is our weekly Asshole of the Week. And this one is well-deserved in a lot of regards. And it's actually, I want to show a two-part to this, because I don't want to particularly slam the Republican Party. But in this regard, I'm slamming Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG. She had a town hall meeting, and in this town hall meeting, she screened people that were coming in. Are they pro Marjorie Taylor Greene? Are you pro-Republican? Make sure that you're not against any of the ideals that she was going to be presenting that particular evening. And she had a lot of police presence, and getting people out. In fact, and I'm going to share that with you. But just after that, I want to show you how, from actually not being an asshole, and this is Chuck Grassley, the Republican out of Louisiana, who also had a town hall, and he was also getting hammered by the audience in regards to, the terrorists and other things that are going on. This is making life freaking miserable for all of us. But I'm going to first present you with the Asshole of the Week, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then I will move on to the actual good meeting that Chuck Grassley had with his constituents in Louisiana. Check it out.
He grabbed me. Yeah, don't do this.
he gets tased. For speaking out against MTG. Don't do that. Listen to these assholes applauding that the guy got tased.
This is a peaceful town hall. Now, this is a peaceful town hall, ladies and gentlemen. This should not have to happen.
Oh, now here's protester number 2 getting tossed out by the po-po. Now look how they manhandle this guy. Look how many people on him. Now watch. Watch what happens. And this old man gets taken to the ground. People frickin' applaud. What is wrong? This is how Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks she should be hosting a town hall by doing this to people?
That's an illegal alien. So you can see Democrats support.
Now let's see how gracefully, as a gentleman, handles the particular situation.
Do your job, Senator.
Yeah.
Yes.
Obey the Supreme Court. Trump's not obeying the Supreme Court. He just ignores them. Yeah. Screw.
Already in 3 months, we got more emails than all of last year.
What does that tell you?
That should tell you to have more meetings.
And we would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process.
So there's 2 examples of how the representatives handle their constituents. And if your constituents disagree with you and you're Marjorie Taylor Greene, you have the police brutalize them and tase them and throw them down, and doesn't matter what your age or gender may be. And if you're Chuck Grassley out of Louisiana, you bite the bullet because you are a Republican, and unfortunately, there's a Republican POTUS. It's causing all kinds of issues for the people living in the United States right now. So if you can't handle, or what do they say? If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. But in any regards, hey, let's get on out of here again. Thank you so very, very much for dropping by and spending another Wednesday with me on Tim's Tidbits. I definitely appreciate it. Let me get you out of here on this little bit. And until next week, folks, pay attention to what's going on, because I'm telling you, all this is coming into fruition. Till next week, I'll see you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye now.
Hey there, who are you? Oh, just the most important document in our country's history. You mean the Constitution? Nope. The Declaration of Independence? Yes, again. The Federalist Papers? The Federalist, what? No, even more important than whatever you just said. Now sit right here and I'll tell you all about me. I'm just a little paper for the ages, a way to set the government straight. A short 887 pages on how to make America great again by forcing through the president's agenda, removing all of those who disagree, replacing with our loyal party members, and reclaim our great country. In sum, give power to the president to authorize the government to legislate morality and wrestle back normality from Marxist ideologies that infiltrate our policies like gender, race, or anything woke. We're gonna abolish the Department of Education, turn the swearing in into a coronation. America's great salvation will arrive with Project 2025. Coronation? You mean like a king? No, it's called the unitary executive theory. It gives the next president unchecked power to do whatever they want. So, a king? Oh, let's not get hung up on semantics. Here's how it's gonna work. Once that we've started the transition, and no one's left to tell us to wait, we'll go through every policy position, get rid of all the language that we hate, like civil rights, diversity, and unions, and pronouns to mention but a few. Defunding any liberal institutions that dare question what we do. I'm pretty sure the Supreme Court... Oh, the Supreme Court. That's a good one. Now, where was I? Abortion will be pretty much illegal, and reproductive rights will be gone. We'll get back to the biblical ideal that a family means a daddy and a mom with kids. Repeal the crazy climate regulations that get in the economy's way. With everyone reporting to their stations on Inauguration Day. When we give power to the president to authorize the government to legislate morality, expelling abnormality like godless ideologies, protecting inequalities like gender, race, and anything woke. We're gonna abolish the Department of Education, convert the melting pot into a Christian nation. The stage is set and we'll be going live in 2025. I can't seriously say all that. Wanna bet? Come on, let's crack me open.
Page 124.
Make more nuclear weapons.
Page 257.
End the war on fossil fuels.
Page 214.
No more gun violence protection.
Page 298.
Or feeding hungry kids at our schools.
Turn to page
Ban
5.
offensive books from the classroom.
563.
Make it hard to register to vote.
Page 449.
Dismantle Medicare.
534.
Kill off the grizzly
Page
bear.
4.
Delete the term sexual orientation, gender equality, awareness of sensitivity, diversity, equity, inclusion, abortion, reproductive health, and reproductive rights out of every rule, regulation, contract, grant, and piece of federal legislation that exists. And that's an actual quote. And that, my friend, is only the beginning of how this makes America great. You'll be so overwhelmed with all the winning that you won't know what you've lost till it's too...
Wait! This doesn't sound great at all.
No?
No, it sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Well, I guess if you wanted to, there's still some things you can do to stop it.
Like what?
Well, if you vote to save democracy and stand against autocracy and tell your friends and family, enough with this insanity. We fought too long to part with these essential civil liberties like privacy and equity and bodily autonomy. And what defines a family? Equality and empathy. And we're not going back, and maybe we can stop this radical abomination. The future all depends on your participation. That's the way democracy will thrive. America was made for you and me, so let's defend our freedom and our dignity. Now raise your voice and let's keep hope alive in 2025.
Identity theft, cyber fraud, financial scams. Who has access to your personal information should be your decision, not up to Elon Musk. That's your data, your social security account, your tax return, your student loans, your VA health records.
But Elon has cracked the code. He is now inside.